Greetings, my friends. It's Andrea here with an important update on the summer solstice for 20th of June 2024. We are in the mid of the year and we would like to have a look at the main astro influences for the next quarter, because a solstice would really go into the next quarter in the financial markets. And the topics we would like to cover today are the macro, so US indices like S&P 500, NASDAQ, and the gold and silver index XAU. We would like to talk, of course, about the Bitcoin, about a global ingress method to really assess the whole situation in the market, and last and not least, we would like to have a look at a very important event happening in July. It's Uranus Crossing Algol. So let's go into all these topics, but before that, I would like to make an announcement. Today, I want to introduce to you our partner, Uptrade, a professional crypto broker, currently handling 8,000 cryptocurrencies and counting, with excellent customer service and outstanding security. And now a word from George.
Hello, Astro Crypto community. It's lovely to speak with you all, and hopefully I get to meet some of your faces soon. My name is George Kaltekis, and I work for a brokerage company called Uptrade. Think of us as like a traditional stockbroker, but in the crypto world. It's a really exciting opportunity to be able to connect with you all and to see how Andrea and I can create some value in this space. For a bit of background, I've been sort of investing and trading in digital currencies for the past 6 or 7 years, in 2017, and I've learned from a lot of the market cycles, and really from a technical analysis point of view, a fundamental, and also looking at the derivatives data in the futures market. So a little bit about Uptrade. We're a full service white glove brokerage. So that means that we can execute buying, selling, and swapping of over 8,000 digital currencies. We can also on-ramp currencies into the market, like the US dollar, the Australian dollar, the euro, and we can get this safely and securely into people's bank accounts. We can also provide the gold standard of custody through Fireblocks, one of the well-known custody solutions in the space. And we also produce in-house research that's best in class and really relevant to current trends and themes. So I really help people to understand the narratives that are driving the value in the crypto space. And together with Andrea, I'm really excited to partner and see how we can add additional value to you. And so Andrea will give you a bit of a spiel about where we might be astrologically in the financial world, especially in the crypto space. And yeah, looking forward to potentially meeting you all and getting to know some of your names soon. Bye for now.
Looking very much forward to the collaboration with Uptrade. Thank you so much for the opportunity, George. And please access the link in the description, the one for Uptrade, just at the top, in order to secure a 30% discount on the brokerage fees. The summer solstice takes place at 8:51 p.m. UTC, and it is a overall good ingress method, because I arrived at a quite nice sum. It's an arithmetic approximation of the whole astrological influences. You are used, the ones who listen to my videos since longer, to this method that I assess with equinoxes as well, in order to see what is the main direction for the next 3 months. And I know that there are a lot of bearish thoughts, especially in the crypto area. I mean, the sentiment nowadays, I'm quite aware of that. And this is also triggered by the volatility that we currently have in the markets. But we arrived at a 4, which is a positive number. And as you know, if it's positive, we will have a direction upwards. It's not really great because it's only a 4. It could be 18, 20. We had also 24, I believe, in 2019 for an ingress. So yes, it's not the best value, but it's also not the worst. So this is a reason to stay optimistic. Now we will still have volatility because we do have Uranus in the sidereal Taurus in the first 3 degrees. So from 0 to 3 degrees and 3 minutes of Taurus, and yes, we have also the last 2 minutes of Aries in sidereal, and this points towards the Kritika Nakshatra, which is a constellation that has the knife as a symbol. So it's about cutting prices. I don't know. We will see. We hope that we will have interest cuts for sure. I think something will happen in this regard in the in the last part of the year, actually, not necessarily in this quarter, but we will have this volatility maintained with a Uranus that is pretty strong here and disturbed, so to speak, by Taurus, because Uranus and Taurus are not so good friends, so to speak. Now we do have at the moment of this ingress several aspects that would lead this arithmetic 4, which is not that bad. And we do have 2 that prevail really with the outer planets. It's a Pluto sextile Neptune. Neptune is about expansion without boundaries, without limits. So this means more or less limitless expansion in the big money, which is Pluto. So funds, we have also the ETFs and so on. We will see developments there, and they are quite positive. It's not the greatest increase because it's only a sextile, but it's still a good evolution in this regard. And we have a Neptune square Sun at this moment, which is quite close to exactness. And this will really look into, let's say, maybe too high expectations that would be somehow diminished, somehow constrained by some rules, regulations, or restrictions. But it could also be a reality check that we will have a more realistic view on the market itself. Now, at global level, these are the influences. And I would like to go also only a bit into Bitcoin on that day, because we have a Venus Moon square, which will show some fear or the fact that people are not really able or they are not content with the prices, sort of. So for sure the sentiment, because the market is driven by many factors, but also by people's sentiment. As we know, people make the markets. We will have some tension there. It is not the worst, though, because it's a low intensity negative aspect, but it is good to be aware of that. Now, I would like to share for a moment the sidereal chart of this solstice and to talk a bit about the nakshatras and to go deeper in their significance and what does it mean for the markets in the next 3 months. This is the Vedic Northern style chart for the ingress of Sun at 0 Cancer in tropical, but here we go into the Siderial Zodiac to see the nakshatras. And I use London as a location, so it would be 9:51 p.m. British Summer Time. And we do have here a stellium of planets in Gemini. As you can see, it's Sun, Venus, and Mercury, which show a focus on the news, Venus, cryptocurrencies, and the Sun, of course, which is about regulation, general direction. And this would be also a new beginning in a way, also a new way to trade that would be really devised in the next 3 months, I would say, and even beyond. It's an important quarter for new techniques possibly in trading, because we have this adjustment of the whole market to the recent changes that we have in the structure of crypto, especially with Bitcoin gaining in dominance over 54. I looked recently, so it's quite a different way to trade. We already feel that the dynamics in the markets are changed, and the volatility will prevail. I think I repeat myself, but it's very important to take this into account. We do have also Jupiter, which is pretty alone in the sidereal Taurus, which is not really bad, but of course it is with Uranus, it's at the beginning. Here we don't see beyond the traditional planet in this configuration, and we do have also Saturn in Aquarius, and Saturn is very strong in the last degrees of Aquarius and will give results for sure in regards to regulation. Cybersecurity will be very relevant, and security in general in terms of custody and management of your funds, so to speak. Do it in an innovative way, but also well thought and with proper risk management. This is the message that we have from Saturn here. Now, the nakshatras that are really behind this will be Mrigashira, which is the sun. This is the first one to look at. Mrigashira is about searching. So it will be a time of adjustment and not stable, in my opinion. This is in line with the general volatility that is really given by Uranus, and it is also in the end, Mrigashira being in the fourth pada, the significance of this nakshatra is the power to find fulfillment. So this means that whatever will be changed here, I think a lot of people will be able to achieve their goals maybe in the next 3 months or until the end of the year. This is also the message given by this solstice. Then we do have also the moon in Scorpio in Jyeshta nakshatra, which shows a lot of intensity, and Jyeshta is about the chief star, so it's about big money again. So it points to the Plutonian energy of Scorpio, the modern rule of Scorpio, which shows the fact that we will have developments there, and this is also immediate, so right following the full moon that we had in the tropical Capricorn, the first full moon in the tropical Capricorn, because another one will really be valid in the next month. We will talk about it. It's a phenomenon which happens usually in the last, in the last part of the first part of the year, so to speak. It's like a finishing aspect, and this would be the first phase of the end, so to speak. So we have an end and a beginning in terms of trading strategies, in terms of the way we look at the markets and security, because we have all these planets in the sidereal Gemini, and in a tropical it is basically not the case. So we will be already, we are in Cancer in a tropical perspective, but Cancer is also a cardinal sign, which is about changes. So both zodiacs would really point to changes in the market dynamics, in the way we trade, in the way we see financial assets, especially cryptocurrencies. We noticed this Gemini emphasis in the chart, which is also about diversity in a way. It's about having a mutable sign that adapts with the times. So asset diversification in the market would be really key, and I think this will really persist. Therefore, we want to talk also about macro and about gold, because this is also a way to mitigate risk in unsure times, in volatile times, especially when the markets are not so easily predictable, and also the economy can bring surprises. Now, we do have, first of all, S&P 500 that I want to raise attention on. We see that we have higher highs, but we have some let's say diminishing long-term aspects that would really slow down growth. At least it could be that we will have also occasionally some dumps. How serious they are, you are very welcome, to look at the technical analysis around these times. So here I would like to point some critical times in terms of S&P, because we know that the direction was upwards and it goes upwards But we will have some critical influences, I would say, that are long-term, not necessarily happening on the day. But here we have two that are pretty close. So it's July 27th and July 29th. And another one on September 19th. So these would be really times where it's important to look more at the charts and to see if you can anticipate something around these dates, this being at quarter level for the ones interested in such dynamics in the markets. And now let's go into NASDAQ. The famous tech index would experience also some challenges at the end of July. It's on the 22nd of July and on the 20th of August, respectively. We do have some long-term challenging aspects, but September is pretty bullish in the second part with a long-term aspect that is pretty rare. It forms a trend and it occurs on the 24th of September, which will really potentially be also a new at the highest. We will see, but in any case, it looks promising towards the end of this quarter. And now let's go into the gold topic. The gold and silver index, XAU, will have a similar trajectory in terms of price evolution to NASDAQ. We see challenges July 19th, July 26th. So these are the days when this aspect is exact. And we do have also a challenge September 4th. But from September 10th onwards, we also see their recovery and expansion. So it's the same pattern. Like the end of July has some problems everywhere, sort of. So just to have a summary so far, crypto is pretty challenging, but not necessarily because of the solstice. We get that low intensity negative aspect on the solstice day itself, but we have other bearish influences and the full moon, basically, which influences the week strongly. But this is on the growing trend that was formed for Bitcoin on the 14th of June, which was established by Jupiter, actually, in terms of planetary influence. Then in the quarter itself, we do see these challenges across indices at macro level. We mentioned S&P 500, NASDAQ, and the gold and silver index, XAU, around the 20-something of the month. And why? Because we have the crossing of Algol, which is not really a disaster, but for crypto, we don't have history. So I would like to dive with you in this topic only for a few minutes if you are curious to see what happened in the past with S&P 500 and when. So let's dive into it. We have this phenomenon, Uranus Crossing Algol, and this happened, I think it was 11th of May, but it was Jupiter crossing the star of Algol, and we had a pump on S&P 500, but we had a dump on BTC. So let's look what happened when Uranus crossed Algol. This is very rare, and this is the history that we have until now that I want to present to you. So first of all, next time it will happen. So it happens now this year and also next year, but next time it will be 2108, so that you have an idea how rare this event is. So it's important event for the market. It's also some cleanup, you know, in some sense. Of course, this will be a regenerative event in many ways. We have Algol, which is linked to the symbol of Gorgona Medusa. It's about losing the head. It's about cutting the head, being beheaded, or at least it's a negative connotation, you know, from the legend perspective associated with this phenomenon. If we link it to the Vedic Indian mythology in the nakshatras, we have this placement of Algol actually near the constellation of Bharani, money, which is about death, but also rebirth. And it's basically near Critica as well, which is about knife and cutting, where really Uranus is right now. So this is an important a way to interpret this. So it will be about regeneration, but in order to regenerate something, you need to cut to finish it, you know, and then to build something new. And in most cases, it would be from scratch after you cleaned up the old baggage, so to speak. And I want to share with you the dates that are strikingly similar to what happens now. So first of all, we talk about July 20th, for which we don't have history, and this is this year. It will happen again, but this time Uranus will be retrograde on October 15th, 2024, and on May 4th, 2025. And it happened, you know, around 84 years ago in 1940 on July 18th. So it was 18th, now it's 20th. October 16th, it was 15th. And it is also May 2nd, and it will be this year, May 4th. So it's quite very similar in terms of the sun positions in the sky that this happens. And of course, other planets are in other positions, and we don't have the World War, luckily. So it's another context. But let's look at S&P 500, what happened. So here, I don't know how clearly you see, this is the line where the date is there. So in July, I hope it's day precision, because this is also a high-level view of the S&P history. You can check for yourself. So this was at 225, and it was somewhere, you know, after the peak, but it was not a bottom. And this is also what we saw, at least. It was really a pump, a local peak at that moment when we considered it, even, you know, with Jupiter. So only Bitcoin was affected negatively this year. October 16th, so it was also the case with Uranus retrograde at that time. It was also, so you see it here, for example, it was 243. So we can see that between the months, it was actually an increase. It was not an outstanding peak or something, but it was on the way down. And the third time it happened, then it was pretty 199.90 at that time. So it was decreasing, and the last was pretty a big decrease of 44 points here, as we can see in the price at that time. So it was pretty significant if we think about the price 25% or something, 25% cut. So the last one seemed to be more dangerous, so to speak. I wanted to share this with you just to have a look. So here it's from macrotrends.net if you are really curious to check it by yourself. And the ones who have the product, the Uranus Jupiter product, they have it already as part of the package since several months. So trade with care. Also, if you have, you know, big risk exposure, it's also good to have proper risk management to really stay outside of the market for a while, or really go into a professional solution, so to speak, for this to navigate the market in an optimal way. So that would be from my side for the next 3 months. It's not so doom and gloom. It will start maybe not so optimal, but it will end on a positive note. This is what we could say, you know, in a nutshell. And I hope you will have success with your investing and trading strategies. And until next time, be inspired and be joyful. See you.